Everyone, welcome to another episode of No Title Needed, coming to you from the beautiful Feinstein's Cabaret right here at the Hotel Carmichael in Carmel, Indiana, US of A. I am Cynthia Collins.
And I am Scott Osborne.
And we are, what are we?
We are your co-hosts.
Oh my gosh, we are. I always get so excited about that. But I'm even more excited about our guest today, Tom Alvarez. Tom, you are, to me, a real staple here in Indianapolis, and especially in the theater community, in the arts, performing arts community. You are a lover, of course, of the performing arts, and you have, now we're going to get to this, but you are a theater critic, but it's more like you're just a lover. You are a theater critic, but you're such a lover of the arts that your reviews are always so kind. And that's not always the case,
now,
of
that's
course.
not passive-aggressive, is it?
No, I swear I mean it.
You're so kind.
I swear I mean it. I don't mean, oh, you're so
Well,
kind.
there was a reviewer once, Corbin Patrick, and he was always accused, oh, he's so nice. You know, I need a reviewer who's going to, like, you know, give me some objective criticism, constructive
How can I
criticism.
improve? Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know, I consider myself, because of my TV background, more of a reporter.
Okay.
I don't consider myself a reviewer. Well, a reviewer over a critic. You know, a critic, I believe, is a New York-based writer who sees new work. And I've seen everything at my age, like at least 4 or 5 times. Professional productions, community productions, high school productions. So, you know, I report what I see, but I'm an actor, I am a model, I'm a lyricist, I'm a producer, I'm all these things. So I think I bring that perspective that no one else has in this market or anywhere. Maybe, I don't know. So, and as far, I'm an advocate first and a journalist second.
Yeah, you are. You are a real advocate because you do not discourage people from going to a show, no matter what it is. Like you said, professional, community theater, anything, the dance, you run the gamut. And you really don't. You really encourage everyone to go see the performing arts.
And the truth is I vet what I'm going to see because it's really one of me. And because I cover all the performing arts, it can't just be theater. It can't be just, and, you know, I try to stay close. Music is huge and broad. And, you know, the genres of music, I would love to do rock. I would love to do everything, you know, K-pop, but I can only be limited. So I vet very carefully. And because I've been around so long, I know everybody's brand, their product, their creative people, actors. So I know what to expect. And here's the thing. I rarely don't go to things where I know that I'm going to have to say, be too critical. I don't want to discourage anybody, but I like to make sure that I don't compare what one little community theater, you know, is doing against what someone's doing at a Broadway touring show. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Apples and oranges.
It's not.
It's
not fair.
Yes. You have to know what you're going to.
Right.
And you do.
Yeah, I try to, just because of practical reasons.
And how did you, have you lived here your whole life?
No, I came here in the 70s, early 70s. I've lost track of when. I think we're in 72 or 70. I was, I was a youngin'. I was 22 or 23, and I came from Fort Wayne, Indiana, where I was born and raised, yes. And I studied theater in college.
Where at?
At Purdue, Indiana. Theater was the name of the theater. The school was at Purdue, Indiana Extension. Back then, it was one building, and we called it Super High. But they had a brilliant faculty of three PhDs, and they were all from New York. They had gone to places like University of Pennsylvania, Carnegie Mellon. They were top of their field, and they chose to go there to start this little theater school. They ran it like a conservatory. So, I met up with kids there at the university. After a couple of years, I had no direction. I went because my brothers were in the Vietnam War, and they encouraged me to get an education and not go through what they were going through. So I went to the university not knowing what I was doing, and somehow I began to meet my fellow students from the theater. I was really intrigued with them. They all wore black. And they all kind of were sort of like really full of confidence. And I was drawn to them because I'd never known, I never really fit in. I was, and I had no clue that I had any artistic talent. So when I met them, I immediately was drawn to them, and they invited me to an audition. We were going to have a beer afterwards, and they said, "Come meet us at the audition." And earlier that day, they had introduced me to the director of the show. And I can't remember the name of it was a real avant-garde piece. They did really amazing work up there because, again, they were like, they had extensive theater backgrounds. They knew their stuff. So we often did off-Broadway stuff. And anyway, I got cast. I got cast on the spot. I had no clue that I had any kind of talent.
Well, you probably had no fear either. When you don't have a clue, you have no fear.
Well,
and you're just like, yeah, sure, okay.
I've used that trick ever since. All the stuff that I've done, I do it fearlessly.
Right.
So anyway, it's a really long story, but it's like right out of Hollywood. I was discovered.
Yeah.
And then I got the bug, and like you do, and you're a theater kid. It's just like it was intense, but I have not stopped ever since. So theater was my first love.
Yeah.
It is my first love.
Of course. And that's why you say when you go and see shows and you review them, and you have that background where you get it. You know what it takes. You know what everything takes. You know the ins and outs of putting on a production, what it takes to just put on one single show. And so
Makes for a whole new appreciation.
That's what it is. I think, you appreciate it so much.
And I try and put that in my writing or my podcasting or my TV work, that I know what I'm talking about, folks. I believe I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I've done it myself. I'm not, what is the thing? If you can't do it, you teach or something.
Oh, God,
whatever.
Yeah. Those that can't do teach.
With all due respect
to
educators, but I'm an educator too because it's a part of what I love. I love mentoring. I'm a director. You've been a director.
Yeah.
So I love bringing out, and I just kind of pass on what people did for me. I love giving people breaks.
What was your, how did you get into being into journalism?
Along the way, during my time at Channel 6, my own production company, just developing a brand as a communicator, because that's the through line of everything I've done is communicating. It took me a while to realize that. I used to get criticized by people because as a dabbler, he can't be taken seriously because he jumps around a lot. Someone looked at my resume one time because I was looking for work. When I couldn't find something, I was really struggling, and I put out a resume. And she was the CEO of a company, and I asked for her advice. She says, "Well, this is problematic, Tom, but I would say that looking at your resume, there are a lot of gaps, and it would show someone that that you seem to jump around a lot." And, initially I was quite offended. And then I realized she didn't know what she's talking about. Because the data shows that these days young people can expect to have 3 or 4 careers. I was ahead of my time.
We have to take a gap. We have to take a break. A little gap. We're going to take a gap of our own. Fall into the gap. Remember that?
I did.
They don't use that tagline anymore.
Those gap buddies.
Fall into the gap. All right, we'll be right back after a message from our sponsor. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with Tom Alvarez. Hey, welcome back to No Title Needed with our guest, Tom Alvarez. Tom, we were just talking about before the break how you have done a plethora of things.
I always feared that I'm going to sound like Forrest Gump. We did all this stuff.
What way?
It's like, he's bullshit. I mean, she's just like making stuff up.
No.
I've done all that.
You have.
Yeah, I have.
Yes,
Makes you a
have.
jack of all trades.
Yes, yes.
But I was always insecure about, imposter syndrome. Am I good enough? Do I jump around because, it's really I'm failing and I want to do something else? And, I've come to my old age. I finally am reaching some confidence, but, being insecure comes with the territory.
But don't you think that maybe you were like wanted challenges?
Yeah.
Some people get a little bored and they're like, I need a challenge to keep me going.
We were talking when I was younger, I was fearless. I mean, but look, a couple years ago, 10 years, a couple years to me, it's 10. I wrote a musical and we fast tracked it in 16 months. And, I thought to myself, I'm not a lyricist, but, I bet you I could do it. I'm a writer,
Right.
It's just poetry.
Yes.
And so I did it. But little did I know, and what I know, the knowledge, I know how long it takes a musical to get to New York. And that's kind of what I can admit. That's what we wanted. Why do it?
Right.
Unless you were going to put it out there to see how far it would go, to create something with legs. But we just plotted ahead. And unfortunately, Dustin Klein, my collaborator and business partner, Klein and Alvarez Productions is the name of our company. And Magic Thread Cabaret is one of our brands, called the musical. This a musical about Alexander Calder, the sculptor. These days you do musicals about anything, right? Including a contemporary sculptor.
Sure.
We were fearless, and I'm so grateful that the truth is, when I started at TV, I was really shy, and here I was sitting in a director's chair and commandeering, a studio staff of like 15 people, and I had to learn very quickly that I had to grow a pair because otherwise I wasn't commanding any respect from these guys who've been in the industry for 50 years.
Well, they'll smell it.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, you don't know what you're doing, people.
But one day I
They
finally
spot it.
had it with them because they were like dragging their feet and they were paid so much money than I was because they were in the union, and I finally had enough and I lost it and I went off on that. It was like a scene in a movie, The timid little guy finally, exerts himself. And, I after some expletives, I said, and it's funny because, men, that macho thing, they kind of expect that, they have to tear you down to build you up. It's like the military,
Yeah.
But looking back on that, and it changed everything. That's when I, learned that, directing live TV, I was told it's like flying an airplane. If you direct live TV, you can do anything. And that's like sustained me in my career.
Yeah.
So that's
Intense
why
focus. Intense focus to be able to direct live TV.
I was told recently, "Oh, Tom, you're so intense." And I never put stuff on Facebook like, "Oh, someone said this about me. What do you think?" But I really wanted to know. I've never been called intense.
I know. I
before.
think you're so laid back.
But it was mostly artists who so Tom, they don't know whatever they're, beep, beep, beep. They don't know what they're talking about. That's just you being focused. They don't understand that. People who aren't focused don't understand. And I'm used to being misunderstood. And I'm sure as an artist, you've been misunderstood because of the territory.
Right now, what you're doing now, let's just fast forward currently.
Yeah.
Because you, like you said, good Lord, you've done a million things. But you have your own podcast now. Now, this podcast now that you have, which you were kind enough to have me on, thank you so much. And Scott, you should
Looking
be on it
forward
too.
to it.
It's fun. It's fun. It's it's just like this.
Well, it's just like
casual
this.
conversation. But are you still doing the show on TV? Remember you?
I'm doing everything.
Yeah, so
I
what
got
was that,
my
Channels?
own kingdom, empire, my media empire. Little old me, I have my own niche. No, I have a brand on the aisle.
That's it.
And I've created, I dreamed it, I did it, and again, I didn't know what I was doing, but so I have a column online, tomalvarez.studio, my own website I've had for like 10 years, and then along the way, I was approached by Channel 8 Lifestyle Life executive producer Peggy McClellan. She knew that they needed a reviewer, and my column was becoming very popular. And so they said, "Can we use you because you got content?" I said, "Absolutely," because then I could promote my website. And then after some time, a few years ago, Alan Hall, who is no longer an employee there, he approached me and said, "We use your content from on the aisle in one of our contests. Would you like your own podcast?" And, it's been a dream come true. I absolutely love sharing my experience on this podcast.
How long has that been going on?
100 shows, 21 months.
Oh,
Awesome.
good.
If I should keel over tomorrow, I have that legacy of those 100 shows.
Right.
Celebrities, national and local. The creme de la creme of the entertainment world locally. I've talked to everybody. I'm still.
You really have
Judy
talked to a lot of
Fitzgerald's. Got to get Don Farrell on the show.
No, I'm surprised he hasn't been on.
A lot of people, actors, directors,
Yeah.
even scene designers, lighting designers, people behind the scenes, donors, sponsors, anybody who makes the arts happen.
Yeah.
I want to pull the curtain back. People in front and behind, people who are often not even thought about. But, like music directors, I love talking to big music directors. And I've met a lot of these people because of what's going on at the Center for the Performing Arts, the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, the Cabaret downtown, and now Feinstein's.
Yes.
And the touring companies. Think about that. The publicists all help me get
But do
to
you
them.
get your own guests?
I do now because the algorithm on Facebook has sent me, oh my God, I'm getting every day people from Broadway.
Okay, good.
And, producers, directors. I'm going to have on my show Michael Lemmon, who just won a Tony. He was a producer of, I think it's Operation Mincemeat, and he won one
that's
for
that's
Merrily We Roll Along.
Yes.
So he's big time, and we spent an hour, and that's why I'm having such a good time, because my experience has brought me to this place where I know what I ask the right questions, and I know what I'm talking about.
Right. And you, all your experience and all your years, not to say but you say it yourself, you've been around the block a few
I
times.
own it. I love.
Right?
I love.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you seem to really, you do enjoy this podcast you're doing. You really
love
seem
it.
to love it.
I always wanted my own radio show, but I never verbalized it.
Yeah.
I always, Ed Sullivan was my hero. He's actually really was. That was my first experience. We were blue collar. We had no money, but TV, my parents were smart.
Yeah.
We had 9 kids. They had to keep us entertained.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we were the first in my neighborhood to have this little round screen TV, and all the neighbor kids would come over. We all watched Hottie Doody.
Of course.
Sky King, and, all those 50s, Leave It to Beaver.
Sure. Yeah.
But then the Ed Sullivan Show, I think subliminally, when I was a kid, I may not have known I had any art. I was myself an artist, but that's where I first think about opera singers, ballet singers, musical theater.
That's right. He broke the. I'll tell you, he was groundbreaking, and that's because I'm sorry we have to wrap this.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry we have to
Flies
wrap
by.
this up.
Yeah.
But he really was.
Yeah.
Because the artists that he had on there, he launched people, or people were like, we're not going to have that person on our show. He did. He didn't let anybody tell him what to do. He said, well, I'm having them on. I mean, he kind of
Broke
pushed.
barriers.
He really did, and he pushed the envelope sometimes. And I think that everyone, even from my generation, you know Ed Sullivan. You know exactly.
Yeah, I know Ed
You know,
Sullivan.
right. I mean,
I have to brag on myself a little because I think this is funny. Tom Cochran, who is the former anchor at Channel 13, we were close friends. We produced a documentary on James Dean that won an Emmy a few years back. But he told me one time, he says, Tom, you are the Ed Sullivan of Indianapolis. And I thought, I love that.
That's a compliment.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
for
it's a
real.
really big shoe.
Well, considering what
yes.
we're talking about, but the idea is I love discovering new talent, developing talent, and promoting talent. That's my thing.
Well, thank you.
Someone did it for me.
Yeah. Everybody needs a helping hand. Everybody needs someone to help them, no
that's
matter how
I'm
determined they are.
strongly about emerging artists getting a foot in the door.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. So I'm so sorry we have to wrap this up. The time flies.
Right.
Because we're having fun.
Yep.
I know. Tom Alvarez, thank you for being here.
You want to keep them wanting more, right?
Oh, of course. Yes. That's right. That's our tagline. Leave them wanting
you want
more.
to leave them.
Leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for No Title Needed today with Tom Alvarez. Thank you, Tom, again. Come on over to Feinstein, see a cabaret show, wide variety, a great variety of performing artists over here. They have a ton going on and great cocktails, great nosh, and it's a gorgeous venue. So come on over to the Hotel Carmichael to Feinstein's and see some wonderful entertainment. And I am Cynthia Collins.
And I am Scott Osborne.
And we are still your co-hosts, and we'll see you next time on No Title Needed.